Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar, Coping with the New Normal, Supportive Strategies for Parents in Lockdown. A big thank you to Sunnyfields Primary School, who are sponsoring this webinar. Much of what we're discussing today is going to be influenced by conversations and concerns with parents and staff and the Board of Trustees of Sunnyfields. Founded in 1966, just before the coup that would eventually lead to the Nigerian Civil War, Sunnyfields has a history of resilience and of operating in very uncertain times. You know, it's gone through civil wars, uprising, economic downturns, the Ebola crisis of recent times, but nothing could have as much impact and disruption as the current lockdown under COVID-19. So today we're hoping to discuss a lot of issues, but more particularly the way that parents can best cope with their children during this period of lockdown. I will just introduce myself and my co-panelist. And my name is Dr. Tunde Ekpe. I'm a chartered accountant and psychologist, and I deal mainly with organizations facilitating individual, team, and organizational assessments and development. I'm a trustee of Sunnyfields Primary School, and I was actually a foundation student. So I'm currently in lockdown in Lagos, having come out for a short visit from Oxford. So the experiences I'm having are not with my children because they're all grown up and have left. But with me, we have Dr. Odunjo, who is based in Atlanta and is actually there. Luckily, she didn't come out to Lagos and get locked down here. She has children who she's locked down with, but I'll leave you to introduce yourself. Dr. Bingpe, please say a few words.
Good afternoon. As Dr. Ekpe did mention, I am in Atlanta, and it's a pleasure to have you all here. I have over 20 years of teaching experience. I provide continuous education for teachers and professional development. I currently do teach 7th grade, which will be the equivalent of 14-year-olds in Nigeria. I think that's JS1. Yes, I am in lockdown with my 3 children, and it has been almost 2 months, a month and a half so far. It's been quite interesting, but this this webinar is going to be very timely for us, and also encouraging and reminding me of some things I can do with my own children. So I hope you get out of it as much as we expect.
Okay, thank you very much, Bingpe. Before we begin our discussion, I think we should just have a quick overview.
Okay.
We'll be talking about the normal, the new normal. You know, what's going on now? I mean, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I mean, Bingpe, you say you've been in lockdown for what, 5 weeks? So that's quite a long time. Right? So we'll be talking about the new normal. You know, they say it takes 3 weeks to form a habit. And it seems as if before we know it, we're all going to be forming new ways of living. I mean, we're not even going to think right now about what's going to happen when all this is over for now. So let's just have this quick overview. We'll discuss the new normal, and then we'll talk about behavioral changes and how we detect, and you know, we need to understand them, and then before we address them. And of course, one of the key concerns at the moment is how our children continue their education. So we'll also be talking about, you know, building their confidence, supporting their online learning, and not only that, talking about how we ourselves are going to take care of ourselves, because right now we've got a lot of competing issues that we need to deal with. Now, we'll go through the program, and then at the end we'll have questions and answers. Because of the limited time, we've decided that the best use of time will be with people sending us their questions on the chat line, which you can find at the top of your screen. When you touch on that and you see the chats, and you can put your questions there and send them to the panelists. At this juncture, we were going to have a poll, but I think we need to have a few more people sign on so that it's useful. So we can always come back to the poll later. So we'll just go straight now into the discussion of the new normal. Okay. So what are the features of the new normal? Vinka, you've been in lockdown for what, 5 weeks? So just tell us a few things about the nature of this new normal, this lockdown.
Well, essentially at this time, we are unable to socialize as we would usually. Everything is, we have restricted times of when we can go to the store, and you can only leave the house for essential things like going to a doctor's office, or if you have to go to the grocery store to get some food or anything like that. But otherwise, socializing, visiting, that has essentially been shut down. So right now, myself, my children, myself, we're at home. Everyone's at home right now. And so our spaces where we used to be able to go to work, or maybe if you were going to church or things like that, normal life as we know it has dramatically changed. So we are coexisting in the same space, and it's very cozy right now. So
very cozy.
Yes.
Yes. Now you say that you have children of varying ages, right? So I'm taking it you've got teenagers, you've got people who are in middle school, high school, and then one college-bound teenager as well.
Yes.
Yes. So how does that how does that work? Having all these mixed generations, I imagine all have different needs and different uses and ways of doing their schoolwork.
Yeah, well, for my children, fortunately, they are able to do all their classwork online, and but the challenge has been that they have not been able to visit with their friends or anything like that. So that is taking a bit of a toll on them, because of course children at this age, humans anyway, are social beings, and the interactions that they would have normally with their friends, maybe being going to school, that was their social outlet really, or even going to church, that was their social outlet. That has completely changed. So they're doing all their classes online, but the personal, the physical, being in the physical contact with their instructors or with their friends, it's important. It's an important part of their learning process as well, and that has been suspended for this time. So that's a challenge.
Okay. Right. That sounds like a real challenge at the moment, and we'll talk a little about that in a minute. But let's just go on and talk about some more features of the new normal, this lockdown. From what you just told us, one of the key things is this thing about getting cozy, the shared spaces, and I believe shared computers and Wi-Fi. I mean, you're based in America, Bingpe. So, I mean, and we know that there's a lot more technological advancement in schools over there than, say, in Lagos, where I'm speaking from. Although there's increasing use of technology via the mobile phone and indeed little tablets, it's not that easy when you've got suddenly 3 people trying to use the one computer in the house, maybe, because it's easier to use the laptop to do certain projects. You may be someone who now has to work from home, I'm guessing, because everyone is in lockdown.
Oh, yes, I do. I have to work from home. But even having a computer, everyone is online right now, whether it's on their phone or on a laptop or a desktop or anything, everyone's online. However,
Yes.
there's some students I do realize who don't have access to the internet. So
Right.
that's also creating a level of stress as well for
Okay.
families that depend on one technology device in their homes.
Okay.
In
So
addition,
okay. Sorry. Carry on.
no, I was saying in addition to other things. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, so we've got the squabbles over the computer. I was talking to someone yesterday who said, look, I'm stressed out because I've got to help the children with their homework. Before, they used to be in after school care. And this was a parent from Sunnyfields actually saying, look, the after school care used to help my child with their homework. I never had this headache of being involved in homework and in teaching. And I have 3 children. So how do I cope with this? Because, you know, basically I've got work to do as well from home. And I've got a husband who wants to use my computer and my study. And so I find that I'm constantly trying to negotiate a space to use for my own work. There's so many competing demands. You know, one minute we were all at home and all we did was, you know, come home, sleep, you know, throw everybody out in the morning, go to work. And suddenly we're all here trying to run a business, trying to work from home, trying to support online learning. Whereas 1 or 2 people say, oh, I finished my homework. I want to watch TV now, or I want to go to bed. And you've got to just balance all these people. And then on top of that, there is the constant elephant in the room, you know, COVID-19. So we're being bombarded with WhatsApps, videos, whether true or false, about what COVID-19 is. But a lot of the messages are negative and just fuel our fear and uncertainty. When is all this going to end? And are we going to catch this? These are some of the key things that we've also encountered from people that we speak to. Did you have something to add to that?
Oh, I was going to say that with that, we need to, main thing is we have to really focus on schedules, because if we kind of like get a schedule together or a routine, a lot of the things that are distractors will kind of fade into the background. And once it is, we try to establish some kind of normalcy. And that leads into this next slide here about behavioral changes, because it influences this.
Okay, so when we're looking at behavioral changes, what are the sorts of things that we're going to spot? One of the fear factors about COVID-19 is this thing about making sure that you have enough to see you through it. So we've all read about people in England running out of toilet paper in the supermarkets, not because people particularly needed toilet paper, but once they saw other people stocking up on toilet paper, they felt they had to as well. To a certain degree, that is also happening with food, for example. So a child says to you, oh, I think I should have some food now. And you say, oh, you know, come on, you know, we've run out, you know, we're not going to be able to shop for another time. That sort of response can actually lead to the child changing their eating patterns, either hoarding their food because they're afraid to run out of it, or stuffing themselves when the time comes because they're afraid that they're going to get hungry at some point. So these are things that we need to look out for, how we fuel anxiety with the messages that are all around. So there's this whole hand washing thing, and you know, wash your hands frequently, but just every now and again, just stop to think, why am I washing my hands every hour when I've been stuck on the sofa, the same sofa, and no one with COVID-19, as far as I'm aware, has moved anywhere near me? But for younger children, this is really quite interesting, because in the school, for example, when Sunnyfields